got some of Orangeville's creative glitterati, I'm going to call them. We have artist and teacher and bon vivant Ricky Shade is with us. Ricky, how are you?
I'm good today, Sandy.
Good. And we have the artistic director of Theatre Orangeville, David Nairn. Sir, thank you for joining us. And we also have one of our great Renaissance men of Orangeville, Larry Kurtz, who is the founder of the Blues and Jazz Festival and a master carpenter and an artist and a musician as well. So Larry, thank you for joining us this morning.
Thanks, Andy. Happy to be here.
Yeah. So it's this interesting times we find ourselves in, and all segments of society are being affected by the COVID-19 crisis, including our artistic and cultural communities. So I thought it'd be good to have you folks on and talk about your how you're coping and your perspective on this, and really, hopefully, we can get into a conversation later about looking forward and how we're going to get out of this and what that's going to look like in the near and hopefully in the near future. So, David, maybe we can start with you. If you could give us a little personal update on how you're coping with your, how your family's doing and how your theater family's doing.
Yeah, sure. I'm still kind of trying to recover from being called creative glitterati. That's not gonna, I think I'm gonna have to get I'm gonna have. I finally know what the tattoo is that I'm gonna get now.
Yeah.
Yes. First of all, Sandy, I want to give a shout out to, as I'm sure Ricky and Larry do as well, to the frontline heroes in our community that are taking it on the chin for all of us, and also what I'm calling the backline heroes, those who are staying at home and doing all they can to flatten the curve, and thanks to you and council too, because I as a citizen have been really appreciating these chats and all that you and council have been doing to keep us up to speed on what's going on in our community. So I thank you for that. All of the staff at Theatre Orangeville are safe and sound, working diligently at home, of course. It's a full-time job for all of my folks, being professionals, and so there's a lot of work that's happening, albeit remotely. We need to maintain planning, development, simple operations, functional operations, in order that all of you have a theater to return to when the all clear is finally sounded, which God willing will be sooner rather than later. Mm-hmm. Personally, I look out today, gorgeous day here in Orangeville, and it's hard to imagine that there's anything wrong with the world on a gorgeous day like today. But getting out into the garden, keeping things. I've got a mountain of plays on my desk from budding playwrights, some of them local here in Orangeville that I've been meaning to read for months, and so I'm finally getting to that. And I'm threatening to break out my yellow ukulele and continue to work on the only song that I'm capable of playing, which is Jolene. So that's kind of what I'm up to these days, and staff. But we're working to keep Theatre Orangeville vibrant and there for everyone when we return.
Wonderful, great. And Ricky, I tuned into a little Facebook Live last night. I think you were working on that piece of art to your right, so I know you're keeping busy. How is this period in our history? How is it inspiring you, or is it not inspiring you? What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, it's kind of like an up and down kind of thing, being stuck at home and not having the same level of social contact and interaction with the outside world as I do. The upside is I've got a lot more time to paint, which is great. It's something that I've been desperately wanting. I didn't want it like this, but right. It's great to have the time to paint at home. But when you're fluctuating between fear for the collapse of civilization and there's other stuff going in my life, some family members are having health issues and things like that, and it's not nice to have that happening at the same time as this pandemic. So kind of the mental space isn't quite what I would like it to be. If I want to be stuck at home to paint, I want to be able to be inspired and not worried about the apocalypse.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm still getting lots done. I'm doing lots of Facebook Live videos and paintings, and luckily I've had some patrons come through with commissions for me because basically all my work dried up. I've got no work left.
Right.
But luckily I've had some people commission paintings like this one here, it's helping me pay my bills. So
That's great.
I'm fluctuating between complete and utter fear and feeling really inspired and productive at home other times.
Yeah.
Right.
As I know you do some work at Maggioli's. You I guess you help to manage that store as well as teach. So are you able to dip into some of the financial programs that the other levels of government have been offering?
So I'm not sure what my boss is going to be doing in that regard. I'm still able to work from home to perform some of my duties. So I haven't been laid off. I still have a trickle of hours here or there.
Right.
But like for myself personally, for this period, because I've gotten these commissions, I'm not eligible for the CERB. And maybe next period I would be, but like if I take the CERB, I'm only allowed to make a certain amount of money. And if I'm able to keep working as an artist, I'd rather do that than take the CERB. But
Sure.
the money I make as an artist might not be enough to pay my bills. So it's a bit of a tricky situation there.
Right.
But we're still kind of doing some planning at the shop, and we're gonna, like, we run lots of art classes, right, which obviously cannot happen now.
Right.
But we're just trying to get all of our ducks in a row, like David was saying, so that when the all clear is there, we can just get up and running and resume.
Great. Some very encouraging news coming out of the Wellington Dufferin Guelph Public Health, and I posted something this morning on Facebook, and it was the chart of new cases, and over the last 5 days, there's only been 3 new cases in Wellington Dufferin Guelph, which is a huge geographical area. So if you look at their chart, you see that the curve is flattening, which is excellent news for everybody. I don't know what that means in terms of opening things up again, but at least that's one milestone that appears to be about to be, taken over, and we can start thinking about some positives in the near future. I really hope so. Thanks. So Larry, thanks again for coming on board this morning to talk. I know you're like many of us, you're multitasking all the time. You've got a business which probably is suffering as a result of this, and can you just give us an update on what you're doing and how your family and your friends are coping with this?
Yeah, first of all, thanks for inviting me on here. It's nice to see your faces, even though you can't see mine. Right. That's what I'm missing is the human contact with our friends and families.
Yes.
My daughter had twin babies, and we can't go visit. It's really hard. We're doing our video conferencing and things like that. Maybe the odd little driveway visit from a distance, but
Right.
things are what I'm missing.
Yes.
At work, we're operating at a slower capacity, but we're still trudging through. I have some work in my shop. We don't have very much traffic coming in, so we're able to keep our distancing. Some of the jobs I'm doing are outside, so I can be outside away from people and still do my work, but it's definitely a lot slower because of people are just not placing the orders like they would be at this time of year.
Mm-hmm.
As far as I'm a lot less, no music gigs. I've had so many gigs had planned, canceled, and we like going to see concerts. We've already missed 4 concerts that we had tickets for, and those kinds of things we're really missing right now. Jazz festival, we've had to lay off our part-time staff at the festival in order to not run out of money. We still incur costs whether we put on a festival this year or not. So we just have to be careful on all of our costs. But the team is in good spirits. Everybody's still on board for putting on a festival again the next time that it's possible. As we're allowed to get together and gather again, we'll be back.
Right. Very good. Yeah, it's going to be interesting going forward. You know what it means to for us to be able to gather again, and I'm hoping this thing is going to blow through. That there's going to be some sort of all clear signal, and a vaccine or something to prevent the spread of this. But there's also some dystopian fears that we've got about what are we going to be able to gather, and how long is it going to be before we can gather? So it's very it's concerning. David, do you have any thoughts about that? About what the future means for I guess performance art? I mean, it's a concern.
Are people going to be? It's not just so much when we're all able to go out of our caves. It's what's the appetite going to be to congregate and to gather and to meet. Beyond that, I mean, the amazing thing now is that is people's appreciation for what artists are doing, like Ricky creating his work online and things like that, is because the arts right now are it's keeping all of us sane. Mm-hmm. That's what's keeping us sane, whether it's Netflix, whether it's watching Ricky or checking out a blues concert or whatever that is. Artists of all stripes are right now providing those opportunities for people. For me. But right. Sandy, we are hardwired as a species to tell stories and share stories, and to do that collectively, whatever that looks like. So we will congregate again. Mm-hmm. It's what the conditions are going to look around that in the immediate future. We're planning in the theater. It's 273 seats. Are people going to be comfortable sitting that close to someone? So we're exploring perhaps an outdoor capability, or do we only sell half the tickets to begin with so that we can maintain physical distancing within the theater for people's comfort level? So we're looking at all of those things, as I'm sure other arts organizations are. Theaters, of course, are currently closed all across the country. I'm receiving daily notices from Stratford, Shaw, as these companies, what's happening is that people are kind of, shows are dropping off as timeline moves forward. We were able to, the last show of our season, New Canadian Curling Club, we have rescheduled into August. That's the latest we could push it back and still provide that opportunity. That, of course, is completely dependent on us having the all clear in order to do that, which, of course, we won't put our patrons or artists in harm's way in any way, shape, or form. But that's a best case scenario. But if we start looking into the fall, or if this becomes into September or even later in the year, then it'll be a very different question, very different discussion around. Theatre Orangeville will always be there for you. You have my promise on that. For everyone out there, it's things will change as conditions dictate. And we're listening to public health, we're listening to the town, civil authorities. We're all taking our same cue from that. But we will be there.
Yeah. You wonder if the future is going to be at the door. You're going to be handed a mask as you come in. I mean, these are. I hope not, but that may be the case.
I guess we have to think about those kind of terms, but at the same time, not that the human spirit, it's a short memory or anything. I'm not suggesting that or belittling it in any way, but I don't know. I mean, we can't. I don't. As a performing artist myself, this is a great means of communication. It's not a great way of expression, I don't think, in terms of what that is. There's nothing more. Ricky's work is brilliant to look at it, but there's nothing more important than walking into a room and experiencing it right there in relation to other works and in an environment that it's created in. And that's what we crave, and that's what I think people thirst for that, and it will come. And if people feel that they need to wear masks for a year or until they feel a vaccine has helped them, then so be it.
Yeah. Well, as we've seen now, and looking back in history, these pandemics have washed through, the world, and much more seriously than in years gone past. Than even
And
this one,
great,
so.
great art will come out. I was reminded from my friends down at Stratford that Shakespeare wrote King Lear in 1608 during the bubonic plague, when he was isolated during plague time. So yes, great art will come out of this. Interestingly enough, I don't know how Ricky feels and Larry, but I've talked to a number of playwrights, works that we have in development, and the last thing some of them feel like doing is sitting down and trying to move that art, or just to move forward a little bit as artists. So I think
Yes,
there's
that's
that's
the
probably a big part.
the Blues and Jazz Festival is the live experience of being up close and personal with the musicians. It's great and comforting to see your favorite performers doing video feeds, but to go and see it in person is just that connection of the audience is, if that's missing, and that can't be replicated any other way than by being there.
Right. Well, you're embracing more senses than just with your eyes, right? When you're in the midst of it all, there's the smells and the warmth and the temperature and all the different things that you're feeling when you're in a venue. So those are really things we're looking forward to.
That's right.
Yeah. And David made a very good point. Thank you to all the creative people in the world that are giving us these ways to entertain ourselves during this difficult time. So very, very excellent point. So thank you to you guys, and thank you to all the creative people that are doing things in film and television that allow us to be entertained. It's really great. So Larry, just what can you give us some behind the scenes tidbits of what your thoughts are about the Blues and Jazz Festival? And do you think we're going to be able to have it this year, or is this going to be pushed off to the spring of 2021?
I'm feeling now, as we go further along, it's going to be pushed off until next year. We at this point in time, you can't gather the financing needed with not being able to approach sponsors and even volunteers. We can't guarantee the safety of any volunteers at this point. So we really rely on our volunteers. We certainly don't want to put anybody in any harm's way. I'm seeing it being, it's becoming clear that it's going to be next year, not this year.
Yeah. When you sign an artist up, you have some sort of a contract with them, and you're able to break that contract up until a particular deadline?
Yes. We're not on the hook for any money with any artists. They all are very understanding. Everybody that I booked this year has been promised to be booked the next festival. So we're just delaying it, and they're all working with us. We're not on the hook for any money that way.
Right.
We're kind of experiencing the same thing Larry is in the same. I think it's really important. The distinction, Sandy, is that events are not canceled; they are postponed. They will be back. They will happen in the future. We are not canceling this play. We are merely postponing it. And our patrons and supporters and sponsors have been amazing. They understand what that is. They're staying with us. They're going, you know what? We bought a couple of tickets, but we want to see that play and we want to see you in the fall. So, just put on credit, or you know what I mean? I mean, audiences and patrons, sponsors particularly, have been super, super understanding as to what that is. Because as Larry says, we're all going to be at the Blues and Jazz next year. There will be one. Larry will make that happen. So we have obligations, contractual obligations to playwrights and things like that. But again, it's, say, hey, if we can't do it this year, we'll do it the next year. And everyone is going, absolutely. We completely understand. So.
Well, I think there's going to be a tremendous pent-up demand for this. So I think as soon as we can get the all clear, or all the planning will kick into gear, and you folks will all be able to help us recover from this really difficult time that we're in right now. So I really
during this difficult time, the planning is still ongoing. We're not taking a holiday from it. We're still on it all the time and keeping updated and being ready for as soon as we can come back. We'll be ready to go.
That's great. That's
I think
great.
maybe we have the formation of a committee here for the four of us to start talking about what kind of a great party we're going to have, or celebration that Orangeville needs and wants as soon as we can do this, whether it's in the fall or the winter or whenever it is. We got to have a real blowout.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Rick, about Celebrate Your Awesome. What are you planning at the moment? Celebrate.
I'm sorry, say that again, Larry?
Event, Celebrate Your Awesome event. Do you have any updates on that?
No. It's been postponed, I think, has it not, Rick?
Yeah,
It has been. Yeah.
postponed. We're hoping that, we as a committee can help to plan a big party in town when this is all over. I'm thinking there's going to be a month-long party for all of our lives when this is done. So we have a big party in town. And it can be like a combination of all the festivals that were canceled.
Right.
That sounds great.
I concur with what Ricky just said. I think all of these things that have missed their time slot this year, we need to pull them together. At least a partial celebration, hopefully in the early fall. We can share all of that and then get back to normal for 2021.
Right.
Yeah, good. All right. Well, gentlemen, I want to thank you all for joining me. I just wanted to throw it around the table just one more time. If you'd like to make a final kind of comment on what COVID means. And Larry, do you want to start?
Sure. Just wanted to say, just make sure you stay in contact with your family and friends. They all really need it at this point. We all need that human contact. And stay strong, stay healthy, wash your hands. We all know that. And we're all going to feel down at times, but we have a lot to be thankful for, and we should focus on those things as well.
Right. Good. Ricky, how about yourself?
I want to have a message for all the artists out there. I know it's difficult at this time to find the inspiration or the kind of creative juices to make art, but it's important for all of us to just battle through that and to sit down at our easels or our computers or our studios or wherever we create and make art at this time, because the art that we make at this time will be a record of this time, and we need to create art that reflects on it. So even if I know that we're having a hard time with it, but we just need to try and do our best to create art and keep our spirits up.
Right. 100%. Thank you for that. And David, how about you? One final thought here.
Well, just to follow up on both those thoughts, is that there is no community in this country that rivals Orangeville and the immediate environment when it comes to creativity and the support of artists and the encouragement of art and cultural scenes here. And this community will support artists and will rally and will come out all the stronger for the creativity, passion, and love for art forms that will come out of this. So I'm proud to live here.
Yeah, we have a great artistic and cultural soul. You guys are all part of it, and it's amazing. And I know we're all going to celebrate, I think, in the very near future. So thank you for joining me today. We'll see you real soon in person, I hope. All the best.